freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 336 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is Challenge Accepted, and our guest today is Tom Hall. Tom is a firearms instructor with FASTERSavesLives, which is practical violence response training that has been protecting and saving the lives of school children across the nation for a decade. Tom has also helped to produce the monthly FASTER Challenge program, using competition and fun target practice to help keep training and practice at the forefront of our minds.
Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you and I got to meet recently in Ohio because I had the unbelievable blessing of being able to come out there and take not only level 1, but level 2 of the FASTERSavesLives program. So just to bring people up to speed, what is the FASTERSavesLives program about? What is it for?
Its acronym is faculty administrative safety training and emergency response. There we go.
I know it's a long one.
I thought it was different. So there for a second, I lost what I learned it was. I went back to the old one, but it's a program designed that came to the fore after Sandy Hook. As I know, when you interviewed Dr. Castor, he gave you the little more detailed history of before it of its its genesis. And I got involved in the second year, so I wasn't there for any of the genesis. But it's a program in response to school shootings, school violence in general, that we can have administrators, faculty, school teachers, cafeteria workers, janitors, bus drivers, anybody working in the school that would be somebody there to help protect our children in an emergency. It's training for them, and it includes we give anything from just plain medical classes, which I'm not a medical pro, so I don't have much to do with those. And then we, of course, the one you showed up for it's a combination of the firearms training, what we call critical incident management. You know how you had to go through after the shooting. There's things you have to do. It's not just shoot and walk away or whatever. It's all the crisis management as well. And then, of course, how to deal with arrival of police and all those kinds of things, and scenario training and firearms, of course. So it's trying to get, as I heard you mention in your last show, that concept that you said you heard a lot, your body will not go where the mind has not gone before. So we're trying to get everybody's mind, at least, to think the things that we don't willingly have our minds do normally. We got to push someone to go there mentally for them to be able to learn. And then your brain now has a tool. So when all of a sudden you're under massive stress and things are going bad, your brain has somewhere to go instead of just freeze.
So Tom, so if a person takes this class, he just doesn't feel comfortable around a firearm, but he feels that there's some need to take the class, what do you say to that guy?
Well, occasionally I got to do some lawn work, and I don't really feel comfortable around chainsaws, but the tool,
right?
You learn to use it. You learn to use it safely, and the tool does what it's supposed to do for you. I mean, so that's what whenever I have students of either my own or through the FASTER program, I was a director of training for a large indoor range here in my local area for a couple of years, and I worked ladies' nights and things like that. And we had a lot of people, men and women, but it happens more to the women, will come in and say, hey, I feel like I need to know how to do this, but I don't feel comfortable with any of it. And you know, I'm sure Cheryl can attest, and I'm assuming you too, Dan. You know, once somebody understands something, that discomfort then tends to go away.
So your job is to make them feel comfortable, right? And then
That's
if
it.
they feel comfortable, then there's no limit to where they could go. And so
That's correct.
people that are on the fence about learning, you know, to help save children's lives, you got to take that step, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then once you do, you'll be there to guide them on their way and make them feel comfortable with what they're doing.
Yeah, just like a fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. And just over my shoulder here is the medical kit that I received in the class. And without making too much noise in the microphone, this is a piece of the Faster Saves Lives program that I think, you know, doesn't actually get talked about as much, because a lot of times people say, well, you're teaching, you know, armed and even unarmed response to violence in school. And people get all nervous about, oh no, you're arming teachers, you're putting guns in the school, right? But the emergency medical, I think this has been used more over the course of almost 10 years that Faster Saves Lives has been out there training, not only even school people, but churches and businesses, right? And so, you know, the stop the bleed, you know, how do you get people the immediate attention, medical attention that they need when the EMTs can't come in until the scene has been cleared? Well, you know, this part of the training to me is something I think we need to talk more about, is, you know, just even how to put on a tourniquet. How many lives can be saved with a simple training on how to properly put on a tourniquet, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't have a medical mind. I don't know what it is. It's you know, all of us have certain strengths and weaknesses in medical, or maybe it's my early medical training I had in the military. You know, it's like, we're going to learn this today, 46 simple steps to do, you know, the Army can complicate everything. So I always felt like it went in one ear and out the other. I would memorize it just long enough to do the task and get a go, and then I wouldn't remember anything. But so the thing I love most about the medical training, the philosophy behind what we do with Faster, the very first time I went through a Faster course, and I sat through the medical there at TDI, the medical training was Mr. McElroy. And the thing I loved was he didn't use medical terms. He wasn't trying to turn me into a medical professional. He was just saying, listen, I just want you to keep them alive long enough for the professionals to get there. That's all your job is. And that's why all the steps are so simple. Yep. And he said, you know, I'm not worried about you wearing gloves. I'm not worried about sterilization of materials. He said, we can take care of all that infection when we get them to the hospital. He said, if you got to shove dirty tube socks in a hole, whatever, we just need you to have them alive when we get there. Yes. And so that medical training really stuck with me. And I use it in my life. You know, I carry a tourniquet, and based on what clothes I'm wearing, I may have a chest seal on me, or as you know, they even say take some duct tape and wrap it around like an old hotel key. And I carried one of those in my pocket for years, and just wrap that up and put it over a sucking chest wound or whatever. So the simplicity of the way we teach it is what I love. And then there's further levels of the medical training. If a school or an individual wants to go further with that, they're welcome to it. But that Faster level 1 version, I love. It sticks in my head.
Absolutely. I feel the exact same way. And, you know, TSA might look a little funny at you when they're like, what's all this duct tape around a key? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So what's the duct tape for the key for?
So to heal a sucking chest wound.
Oh.
So see, Dan needs the training, right?
Well, I definitely need the training.
Out to Ohio.
I need the training because I can't have Cheryl around me all the time.
That's true.
That's right. That's right.
And actually, we are in the process of bringing Faster to our state of Arizona, from Ohio to Arizona, right?
We're excited about that. Yes, we are. I'm not the level in Faster where I get in on those details, or not yet anyways. I'm in meetings here and there, but from what I've been told, it's March.
We're shooting for March. We're sitting in the studio today August 16th of 2021. We are looking at the month of March of 2022 for our very first introductory class. We've got an anchor school that has agreed to, they're very excited. They said, we want all of our teachers trained. And we said, we don't have to have every teacher trained, So, and we've been talking to local law enforcement that's very excited to help out. Some of our legislators are excited to help out. So
Excellent.
I think we are on track. And so that's when Dan can come and he can get the training like I did.
Yeah, I'm anxious about it. The main thing about that program that I'm excited about is that, and a lot of people probably don't know, is that, if there is a shooting at a school, that the medical people can't come in until the building is secured.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the police that come in are not always medically trained to handle the situation or the time.
Priority to come in.
Right. There is to stop the threat. And so with a teacher learning a simple tourniquet situation, or stop the bleeding with a motel key with duct tape on it, those things can actually save a life and get the attention that they need. And, you think, well, the police is there, everything's cool now, but it's not. It could take hours to clear a building, right?
Right.
So the teachers, I guess, we got to remember that we are the first responders.
We are always our own immediate responder.
Right.
That
Immediate
there's
responder.
no two ways about it. Because why? Because it's happening to us or around us. And so we are those immediate responders.
And then every teacher that learns this thing takes that with them at home, to the gym, to the range, the grocery store, and it's super valuable. It's like having a EMT in your house.
Yeah. Well, when I teach my own classes too, I have about an hour of my CCW. CCW here in Ohio requires 6 hours of classroom and 2 hours on the range. And in those 6 hours, I spend almost an entire hour just talking about how the student isn't done. And I use the use of Force Continuum to show them what else there is to know. So like before there's an incident, training that they would need pre-incident indicators, how to know somebody's got bad intentions, your situational awareness type stuff. Then of course you've got your open hand skills, you've got your less than lethal skills, and a lot of people want to substitute them. I'll just carry a gun, so I don't need pepper spray, or I got pepper spray, so I don't need a gun. And they're not substitutes for each other. They each have their own place. And if you use them wrong, you're either dead or in jail. They're not substitutes. And so then I also say, after the fight, after it's over, you're still not, there's still just, a lot of people think I'm going to get a gun, I'm going to get a piece of plastic saying I can carry it in a holster, and boom, I'm good. And then I say, so what if you are defending your wife or your husband, and them getting injured or shot is the impetus for this incident that happened, and you pull out your gun, you do the hero thing, you take them down, and your loved one lays there and dies anyways. I said, did you win? And they're like, no. And I said, that's right. So if it was something that you could have prevented by a little bit of training and you didn't, then you didn't win. I said, it's not just about carrying a gun around. And so, yeah, the medical part, we've had a lot of people go through FASTER that either, like you asked about, Dan, was just like, listen, I'm not comfortable with carrying guns. The more they learn, and they just can't get over the violence of the gun itself, the recoil. And they'll say, you know what, I'm just going to do the medical as much as I can. I just want to be, and we've got a lot of schools where we've got maybe 6 or 7 armed staff in that school, but 2 or 3 dozen that have been through our medical training.
Yes.
So, yeah, because like you said, if it's taking them an hour to clear a building, that law enforcement and medics aren't coming in, a tourniquet. I mean, that's if it's an extremity wound, that's life. Otherwise, they bleed out while you sit there and wait.
You said a very interesting thing, Tom, about the training, the hour training. Your awareness of where you are, but more importantly, how much force you can use to stop something is super valuable. Because like you said, you can overextend it or underestimate the problem. And to me, that is, I don't think anything should be required by law for you to have to take, but required by common sense that you take these classes to learn. I can't tell you how many times that I've had a gun, that I've had a situation where I didn't draw the gun.
Oh yeah.
But in some people would have thought they should have.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. But
And
training tells you.
because that's when you win.
otherwise.
When you win is you walk away without having to draw your gun.
Yeah,
Oh
That's
yeah,
what-
that's a win. Absolutely.
Right. Right.
for sure.
So, but thank you for that, because I think that's
No
super
problem.
important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
thank you.
And so I failed to say that with bringing Faster to Arizona, that is in cooperation with Faster Saves Lives. So that information, as we get closer to that March date, will appear on the FASTERSavesLives.org. I believe you guys are an org.
Oh, right. Yes.
And AZCDL Foundation's page, and we are azcdl.org. And so if anybody's interested in helping support that, because this is a volunteer effort, right? And
Yes.
volunteer efforts take manpower and money, of course. So
Oh, yes. Well,
Yeah.
getting us out there and it's hard to sit here and explain all the logistics required in something like that. It's crazy. Sounds pretty simple, but of course you got somebody out there. Dave's his name, right?
David Laird,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah, he's obviously he knows how to set up a range, and he went through level 1 and level 2 as well. So he's fully aware of what's required to run the class. And so I think it's going to be excellent. I think he's a consummate professional, and I think it's going to be great.
Absolutely. David Laird of Dynamic Combative Solutions. And he also sits on the board, as do I, of the AZCDL Foundation. And then
Yes.
we've actually had 3 board members out there a couple months ago. It was also Mark Zelinskis. He's on the board. And
yeah.
like a year before, our president, Dave Kopp, went out there. So we
He's come
are,
here a few times, hasn't he?
I think he might have a couple of times. And so, it really is, you can theorize all day long. You can try to explain all day long to people, but until you have experienced
Right.
what the Faster
Right.
Saves Lives training is and how all encompassing and multi-layered it is, you just don't know. And it's life-changing. I mean, I can't understate, it is life-changing.
But you're right. I think I missed your actual question here a minute ago. Yes, it takes a lot of money,
Yeah.
a lot of resources in general, and yes, we appreciate everyone's support and helping you guys out and us. Faster Saves Lives is owned by Buckeye Firearms Foundation, and we do a lot of other things too. So fundraising and getting support is extremely important. Couldn't do it without-
Absolutely. And that leads us to the next thing I want to talk about, and why I have named the theme of today's episode Challenge Accepted, because you do have a monthly challenge that you put together and you put out on YouTube, not only to increase proficiency in a very fun way for people who even haven't been through the class, but definitely your alumni, but also an element of that is there's this fundraising element in that each of your challenges has its own unique patch. And I had the extreme honor of being able to sort of, in a way, appear on one of your patches for the most recent challenge, the
Right.
dot torture. I wonder how we came up with that, right?
Right.
Because polka dots are my camo.
Right.
And so it was incredible. I'll let you explain to people what the monthly challenges have been and what they're about. But you were so generous while I was out in Ohio to say, hey, why don't you film a video of yourself shooting this target called the dot torture? I'm like, okay, you had me until the word torture. And we'll create a patch around my little polka dots or my camo logo,
Yes.
lady. And this is the very original what is it called, illustration that Sandy Barnes made for me several years ago. And we have just had a great time using her in a multitude of ways, on a coffee cup. We've got the patch, that's always here on my microphone stand. And now she's on a Faster Saves Lives challenge patch. And take it away from here.
All right. Well, since you talked about that one, I'll start off with that. Let's see here.
There she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
so fun.
that's very
I-
cool. It's the first time we've had one that was specifically about an individual. So you're it for that.
I love
yeah,
the
and
lips on that one. I'm gonna have to start using more lipstick.
Yeah, I know. Well, like you spoke about earlier, designing for embroidery is a skill set in its own, because you can't exactly sure how that's going to look. But yeah, so that's this month, and that's about to be launched today. And then so each challenge consists of a patch, and it'll have a course of fire and a target. And when you go to FASTERSavesLives.org, you can scroll down to the training section, and that's got all of our challenges from the past too. So you can get them even after their time is gone. We highly appreciate anyone doing that. So if you're like me and you sort of collect these kinds of things, you can still get all the past ones. So this one is based on the dot torture, which is it's nothing we invented. But what started was we were outside of one of the live fire houses, and you were standing just a few feet away from me. And me and Joe were talking about, well, what are we going to do? Because we actually stopped the program for about 6 months because we're mostly volunteer. Our logistics got a little messed up and we got way behind. And so we just stopped it and decided to restart it at the end of FASTER this year. So Joe was standing there by me and he goes, hey, what are we going to do? And I said, well, let's get to thinking about it. And he says, I already filmed me and my son doing the dot torture. And he said the word dot, and you were standing a few feet away. And I'm like, oh, I got an idea. And then, of course, walked over. I asked him if he had any problem with it, and then went over to you, and it was the rest is history, of course. You were very excited, more excited than I expected you to be, even. So, yeah, very excited about this. And, of course, in terms of fundraising, the more people and louder voices we can get on board to help us proclaim the message, the better for our efforts. So, yeah, I'm very excited about it. But the challenge program started, hopefully some of your people have heard of a company called Goruck. Goruck is a fitness company started by former special forces. And it's basically taking the mud challenge, the barbarian challenge, and those concepts, and he does events. So for instance, on D-Day, June 6th, all over the country, there will be Goruck events. And they make all those other challenges look very, very weak. The lowest level of Goruck challenge you can go to is about 4 to 6 hours long, about 10 miles, and they stop you and then just dog you out with all kinds of crazy exercises. And you've got a backpack on. That's what the ruck is. It's basically, rucking is walking with weight is the basic definition. So, but anyways, so me and Joe did one together, me and Joe and my future son-in-law, and up in Columbus. And so it was his idea. I wish it was my idea, but it was Joe's. He said, we just paid those people $45 to just dog us into the ground with exercises, and all we got was a patch. He goes, do you think people would do that with shooting? And that was it. And so then I took off and ran with the idea. And I get all the artwork together and come up with most of the ideas. And then whoever it is about or whatever, I'll explain that in a second, they tend to do the video for us to get their part in. So that was yours. So the very first one, what we use here in Ohio to qualify FASTER students is the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy's qualification. So it's OPATA. And so we use the same test, as you know, Cheryl, that law enforcement uses here in Ohio. However, we add 3 extra rounds to it, and we have you have to get 26 out of 28 to pass. Law enforcement only have to hit 20 out of 25. So that's why we call ours the OPATA Plus. I don't know if you can see the plus there. Ours is the OPATA Plus. And so this is our standby. We do this at all kinds of different fundraisers, but this is our first one, and we came back to that again this year. So on that one, and one thing I want to make sure people understand about the challenge is it's not about a score. It's not about earning it, although we like people to want to earn it and want to do well. It's about simply accepting the challenge, like the title of your show today. So that was our first one. Our second one was the FBI challenge. On that one,
That's cool.
This one was all my idea, and the artist was great at being able to take my words and put them into a great picture there. But that's the FBI challenge, and it's just do the FBI challenge. I mean, there's nothing added to it. And then the first state we ever expanded FASTER into was Colorado. So we honored Colorado with using their flag and a little stereotypical, Conestoga wagon there, and you do the Colorado State Police Officer qualification. Then the one I'm most proud of, because this is one's 100% me, is the Zombie Hunter Challenge for October last year. I wanted something Halloweeny, but and so zombies have been a big deal in America here for the last several years. So this one is made of glow in the dark thread. And
I love it. I might love it even more than my very own.
Tom,
I love it that much.
Please tell me where I can find some zombies. Please. I want to get on that challenge right now.
I know. So the catchphrase for this one was only headshots are all that matters. So there's I think it's 50 round course of fire that I designed. And I wrote a scenario up for each one with, tongue-in-cheek comedy, like for instance, you're going through the grocery store scrounging for stuff, and when you turn down the toilet paper aisle, I wrote it during the COVID toilet paper shortage. So I added, you turn down the toilet paper aisle and there's the former deli manager coming at you. So, and then I tell you what, in the course of fire you got to do. And so, but headshots are all that matters. And it goes all the way back to 75 feet. And then I've got a ranking system based on how many shots you got. Then I give you a ranking system, and Zombie Hunter and Zombie Hunter Instructor is the top 2 ranks. So
awesome.
That was October last year.
So let me just interject, because by now people are like wanting these, that these are part of your fundraiser. People can buy these, right?
Absolutely.
How do they buy them?
FASTERSavesLives.org, and you scroll down to the training section at the bottom, and all these challenges are still there to sign up for, and they're $20 each. And if you want the target with it, it's $25, and that includes postage and everything. And then I get an email saying what you paid for and your address and everything, and then I package up your whatever you bought and mail it out to you anywhere in the country.
Because I'm getting the whole set. I'm telling you right now, I'm getting the whole set. So what's the next one?
The next one is this was November, so I wanted something Thanksgiving-y. So we got a pilgrim there with a handgun trying to shoot his turkey. But we used for this one, TDI, as you know, is where the genesis of FASTER was. So this is their handgun proficiency exam. That's what we used for that one. And Forrest did the video for us. And then
you needed like a blunderbuss for that one, right? Yeah. Shooting a turkey.
I thought about that afterwards. I'm like, why didn't I have him do like a blunderbuss ending on a revolver? That would have been funny. So the next one was Christmas.
So
and
cute.
That's a Christmas theme. And Andrew Bluebaugh of Apex up in Northern Ohio. I call it our Northern Training Facility up in Wadsworth. That's where we train. That's where FASTER runs in the northern half of the state. Andrew designed this one for us, not the artwork, but the challenge. And it's a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with a Christmas tree on it, ornaments. And for each ornament, there's a string of fire you got to do. And so that one was designed by Andrew, and he does the video for that one. And then that's where we kind of ended our year last year. Things went off the rails in the Christmas season, and we wasn't able to get things going again. But what I had designed for last January, but we just put it out last month, was the dry fire challenge. And it was designed to be in January originally because no one wants to, up here in Ohio anyways, no one wants to go out in the cold at the range unless you really, it's not quite as fun at least. So the idea was Andrew on his Instagram does a lot of dry fire instruction already. So I thought, dry fire training. So the idea is you commit to it like a workout, like going to the gym 3 times a week or whatever it is you do. This is Andrew is designing strings of fire that are all dry fire for you to do. So as you can see there, the artwork doesn't say bang, it says click.
That's awesome.
And so you sign up for that one, and then there will be more exercises coming, I guess, until Andrew's tired of doing them. We'll just get more and more exercises of dry fire that you can do at home without buying ammo or without going outside. So
that's awesome.
That's good training.
Yeah. That is fantastic. So
then, of course, then there's yours.
Yes.
And then I have one designed for last February that I'll do this coming February, which is a tourniquet challenge.
Oh, I love it.
Valentine's theme. It's a heart with a tourniquet on it. And so we will have one of our medical pros do a video on proper tourniquet usage, and then we'll have a tourniquet challenge in February for Valentine's month.
I love it. And I want to say again, I'm going to collect them all. I encourage everybody to collect them all. And my personal challenge to the people listening and watching is I want mine to sell out first. Okay.
Yes.
So please get to FASTERSavesLives.org, scroll down to where is
Training. It says training opportunities or something like that. Yep.
Training. Click on the dot torture one, show them the thing, show them the little patch again.
There it is.
And that's the one you're after. Get them all, but I want this one to sell out first. And see the little the target is part of the design. And so when I went out to do the video, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous because I've been around guns my whole life. I've shot my whole life, but to draw from the holster and to shoot for accuracy, this is something that's a little more new for me. Thank God this isn't a timed torture. It isn't a timed. And I went out to the range with David Laird, who we mentioned earlier, because he is a professional trainer. He is who I, have chosen as my trainer, much to his chagrin, probably a lot of times. But so I'm out there shooting the 2-inch circles on my target. And I'm already like sort of nervous. So next to me, the professional firearms instructor is shooting 1-inch targets and doing better than I am, obviously. But he says to me at one point, he's like, take all the time you need. It's not timed. And I'm like, I'm taking you seriously. I'm taking all the time I need. So, but it was so fun. And it really is one of those things that it's like, there's no fail. It's just a score, and the score only tells you what you can do better the next time. Right. And I really loved being asked to do it, and I am going to continue at it until I have gotten to the point that I can time myself, because that's the thing with the dot torture is you're really never done, right? Because you can add distance, you can add time constraints, you can make your circles smaller like David did. But it's a wonderful thing. And again, I thank you so much for inviting me to do that.
Well, your video, I think more than any we've ever had so far, shows sort of the essence of the program, which is a challenge. It's accepting a challenge. It's not, like I said, it's not about a pass fail. It's not about you got to earn the patch. Because we had tons of people when we launched the program say, well, I'd love to do that, but I'm not that good. I'm like, no, you're missing the whole point. It's take the challenge, get better. That's the whole idea. So it's not a qualification. It's a challenge.
Right.
So your video showed that. It really showed the essence of the program.
Well, I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun to do, and I was glad to have David out there to help me with that. So the next thing I wanted to talk about before we run out of time is there was this Ohio Supreme Court decision. So it's the Supreme Court, but it's in the state of Ohio.
The state
Supreme Court. They made a decision that just happened to fall during the week that David and Mark and I were in Ohio, that really it shows such ignorance of the work that FASTER does, the success rate over almost 10 years. And it's a very disruptive decision to what we're trying to do, to save lives, to save the lives of children in schools, people in churches, people in businesses, with the medical training, with the armed and unarmed response to violence, to the situational awareness that you're teaching. Talk to us about what it was that this Ohio Supreme Court decided.
We have two statutes here in the state of Ohio, and no need to get into the legalese, but one of those statutes, which was written first, talks about how to legally have security, higher security in a school, and what those qualifications are. And it says, they got to have OPATA training or got to be retired law enforcement. It gives some qualifications like that, and a bunch of other stuff goes along with that. Well, years later, years separated, there's a second law written which said that school boards had the authority to choose the safety plan, and whether or not they as a school board voted to use firearms as part of that safety plan. Because all schools, or all high schools, I'm sure this is true across America, have to have a safety plan. I believe it must be approved by the state or registered with the state or something along those lines. And but the school board is the decision maker. we had some parents. My understanding is the parents. I wasn't. I haven't been involved in detail about the actual nuts and bolts of the law, the legal case, but sued one of our school districts here in Ohio, saying wanted to combine those two laws, saying, okay, the school board can approve it, but they got to have this OPATA training. And that's not at all the way the laws were written. One is about hiring professional security, like a school resource officer. The other is about the safety plan of a school. And I understand how at a glance you could think those things were linked, but they aren't. I mean, they just simply aren't. I mean, the will of the legislators when they passed them is pretty obvious when you read them. But the Supreme Court of Ohio, in a 3-2 decision, decided that those two laws had to be interpreted as one together. And I will say this, though, as I gave you in my bio, I studied constitutional history, or I focused heavily on constitutional history at Ohio State, and got my degree there. So I've read a lot of Supreme Court decisions over the years, and I don't remember one ever saying as plainly how to fix it. The Supreme Court, it didn't appear to be a big philosophical issue with the justices that went against us. It seemed to me like they sincerely believed those laws should have been written better, or at least the second one should have been written to say it does not connect with this other one. And because they say, if I remember right, it's 3 times, because I know for sure it's 2, in the decision, in the majority decision, it says how to fix it. It tells the legislature how to fix this. And that's the problem, is the legislature, because we've known that this decision may be coming down now for months and months. And our Senate here in Ohio has passed the fix for it. If I remember what Jim told me right, a couple times they've passed fixes, and the House has failed to pick it up and run with it. So now the burden is on the House of Representatives here in the state of Ohio to get in there and write a bill that patches this up and fixes it and makes that Supreme Court decision moot. Otherwise, we have a minimum of 1 armed school district in each Ohio county. I think bar 1. We have 88 counties, and we have a minimum of 1 school district armed in each of them, and many counties with multiple. I live in a county with multiple armed school districts. And all of a sudden, that's now illegal, according to the state Supreme Court, unless somebody goes through OPATA and has, I believe, they either have to be actively a cop, have, I think it's 6 years experience, or be retired law enforcement, if I remember the details of how it's done. So right now, the schools that didn't have it in their budget to have resource officers, now they'll either have nothing, or they'll have to find it somehow in the budget to pay for a resource officer, whereas it was a volunteer program before.
Yeah,
so
Tom,
hopefully we'll get it fixed.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
through the history of all of the Faster Saves Lives, I have never heard of one incident that caused harm to a student.
No, it's
Not one.
the other way around. Now,
How
I will say this, there have been incidents around the country, and you guys probably keep up with this more than me, where there are armed school districts around the country where people have left guns where kids found them, but it's never involved any FASTER graduates.
Right.
A lot of schools, like here in Ohio, for instance, like I said, the school board makes the decision. FASTER is not the required training program to be armed in anywhere. We're not a requirement. So there are schools that just, the school board tells the superintendent, hey, get it done. Superintendent goes to the gun nuts that may be teachers. I shouldn't say that. Gun people, that are perceived proficient. That, hey, start carrying a gun. Well, there's no training, and all those things that I told you earlier, that we force you into training to make your mind go there. Well, imagine if they said, hey, you're a teacher. They just said, hey, we want you to start carrying a gun to school. Imagine how much you wouldn't know.
Right.
So there have been incidents, nobody harmed to my knowledge around the country, but there's been incidents where, I think it was a bus driver left a gun in just a desk drawer, and some kid found it. But none of our people, there's been no incidents of any negative kind whatsoever with any FASTER graduates. And we have had some lives saved with the Faster Saves Lives program. So yeah, we're a net gain by far.
Absolutely.
We're all human and people can make mistakes, but you look at the overall chances of a problem versus a solution.
Yeah.
I mean, would you want to be in a, I don't want to go any further with it, but the thing
Right.
is that these legislatures that aren't passing this, don't they have kids in schools? Don't they realize? I mean, you look at the past where teachers have shielded themselves against for students because they were being shot at and died because they couldn't defend them any other way.
That's right. Every time there's a school shooting, we have adults die because they're willing to do anything and everything they can to try to protect those kids. And like I heard Dr. Castor say when he was on your show, you know, and we give them nothing to do it with.
Right.
We already have the people with the heart and the willingness. Let's give them a way to actually succeed and survive themselves.
Right.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's nothing but pure politics. And this is my words, not Faster Saves Lives program words, but the legislatures that have failed to fix this, it's from pure cowardice.
Right. And a properly trained person would no more leave their gun in a place that could have access to a kid than leaving their foot somewhere.
Right.
You can't leave your foot somewhere. Right. You can't.
Right.
And so, and properly trained people, their gun is a part of their body.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can't, it can't be done.
Right.
Right.
So,
Well, and we've had people come through Faster that have passed the class, and we've contacted their school board and superintendent and said, don't let this person carry.
Yeah,
They've
it's
been
more than
warned
just.
they're not sober minded. They don't
Yeah.
have the right. They can't get the right mindset, whether it's safety or just, you know, they'll go through scenarios laughing about them. You know, there's just things that aren't right, and we'll call the school and let them know, don't let them carry. They're not the right mind for this.
yeah, it's kind of like you don't really want a person that wants to be a hero. You want a person that wants to protect their kids. They're not looking to become a hero.
Yeah.
They don't want to be a hero.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if you're getting to a point where you're going to be a hero, then okay.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, but I really don't want to change a tire on the side of the road. I have no desire to do it,
Right.
but I'm ready to do it when I need to.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said. Well, we need to start wrapping up, but I also wanted to say that while I was out there at the training, you were you played the part in the scenarios, in the live, like shoot house type scenarios. You played the part of the bad guy.
Correct.
And so you got pelted all day long with little, what are they? They're not even airsoft balls.
Yeah, TDI, they're airsoft. And up north with Andrew, they were Umarex 43 caliber rubber balls.
Yeah.
Oh, those could hurt a little bit, can't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
And I just want to formally apologize for the welts that I.
Well, you probably didn't hit him.
No, I definitely.
He lit me up.
Okay. All right. So Cheryl's trying to wrap the show up, but I'm not letting her get away with it yet. I want to know, Tom.
Yeah.
She told me how she did. Can you call me later and tell me how she did?
Sure.
But
no, it was excellent training. And
you didn't tell me you shot at people with the rubber bullets.
Not people, just Tom. I just shot at
Yeah,
Tom, I have to tell you, we went to
not multiple people, just Tom.
earlier. We went to a simulation for a police shooting thing where you shoot a target.
Right.
And, you know, we all shot, and then Cheryl shot. Every single shot she hit. Guess where it was?
This is a family show.
I was just about to say, is this a family show?
Yeah, in the groin. Every single one. And one
It
of
was
the
totally
officers,
unintentional.
one
And
of
that
the
is not where I shot Tom.
that's what I was.
Using your hand a little too much and going downward.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
The
That's what
officer
it
said
is.
that, you know, most of the women that come in and shoot, or new people even, that's where the target hits. But
It's
if you-
nothing Freudian about that at all.
If you got shot, Tom, I'm sorry.
No, it was great. And I do want to say that in the training, there is a qualification, and that I said on my interview with Jim Irvine and with Joe Eaton and with Dr. Castor, I didn't pass. And that actually, for me, because I didn't need the qualification, because I'm not, you know, a faculty, administrator, staff in a school.
Yeah, but you still guard me.
That's true. That's true. I still guard you. But that was actually, I think, in many ways more valuable to me to realize where I need to work on, like you're saying, even grip, just even grabbing that trigger, grip and squeeze. But also it definitely showed me that you aren't just, rubber stamping in Faster Saves Lives. People have to earn it. And that is amazing to me. And I value that so much.
You're very welcome. Chris Cerino, I'm certain you probably know him.
Absolutely.
He ran our northern half of the state for the first few years of the program, and he is such a conscientious instructor that he would stress so much when someone wouldn't qualify. And even though, yes, I want everyone to come there to succeed, we want protectors out there, right? But at the same time, from someone who wants this program to succeed, we need for people to fail. Yes. We need that demonstration that this isn't rubber stamped. Exactly. And we don't it's organic. We don't construe it to make people fail. We have a standard and it must be met, period.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I told him, I would always tell Chris, I'm like, listen, we need people to fail. Don't stress it. It's okay. We need some in there. And like I told you, we have people that pass that we still recommend to their school don't carry. So yeah, we have a standard and we know what we're looking for, and we know we can get it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we need to wrap up, but please tell folks how they can continue to follow your personal journey, because you have a podcast that sometimes you have time. You're like us, right? Sometimes you have time for those extra things, and sometimes you don't. The Faster Saves Lives program, and of course, the monthly challenge.
Well, the FASTERSavesLives.org is where you get the challenge, and you scroll down to the bottom and you hit the training area there, and it'll have them all listed. And then me personally, I'm Tom R. Hall on Facebook, and I haven't done much of the podcast in a while, like you said, but I did a YouTube channel for a little while. The first 5 videos are the really important ones. It's called 4 Boxes, and it refers to the 4 boxes of liberty. I am much more of a liberty guy than I am a gun guy. Guns are part of liberty. Yes. I came at it from that way. I came at it from a constitutional guy and got involved with guns instead of the other way around it usually is. But your 4 boxes are your soapbox, your voice, your freedom of speech, the ballot box where we vote, the jury box, which is about jury nullification and something our founders believed heavily in, but our legal system has sort of tried to keep anyone from even knowing that exists. I consider the modern version of the jury box civil disobedience, because that's essentially what the jury box is. And then, of course, if all else fails, the cartridge box. And so I talk about those. I have the inaugural video, then there's a video on each of those. And then I have a video just explaining liberty to people. A lot of people don't even understand what it means. And I think part of our biggest problem in America is who's going to fight for something they don't even know what it is? Amen. Nobody. They don't understand what liberty is.
There you go, Tom. So here's your next one, your next patch. Okay. Your next patch is a voting patch, and all the tools you're going to give them on how to research the people they're going to vote for, how they're going to make a decision on who they're going to vote for and why they did. And once they meet that and they go vote, they get a patch.
There you go. I like it.
We may do something like that.
I mean, because people, it's some people just vote. Oh, I heard that name before, and they vote. They don't even know. They don't even check the NRA guide to see.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
There's your patch idea.
Especially, yeah. So then after I got all my basic explanations of those, I have a video on liberty, and then one on a concept not even taught in those schools that was near and dear to our founders: dispersion of power. It's usually said in different ways or barely hinted at as a concept, but the dispersion of power is a key element to the way we were founded. And then I did a video on federalism, which is one of the ways they disperse power. And I haven't done a video in about 2.5 years, but I've just decided about last week, I've got another one I'm going to do soon that's going to be called Liberty is the Standard. And it's going to explain why left, right, conservative, liberal, Republican, libertarian, Democrat, all that should simply be ways that we label liberty or less liberty, more liberty or less liberty. And so Liberty is the Standard is going to be a video I'll do probably the next couple of weeks, and I'll get you a link or whatever. But you find that, all that, plus some other podcast stuff we did on there, me and a buddy trying to experiment, sort of like what you guys are doing. And it's maybe not so family friendly. So I'll warn your viewers on that. So I've usually got a cigar and a drink. So, anyways, that's called 4 Boxes on YouTube. It's 4 a space and then BOXES. And that's the most you can get me there. But I'd prefer they spend as much time as possible doing faster.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. I
Appreciate you.
it.
Thanks,
Can't
Tom.
wait to see you out here in Arizona.
Yep, can't wait to see you. Thanks,
All
folks.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye
You have
now.
a great day. Thanks, Tom. That is fun. He's fun. Those challenges look fun too.
Oh, they really are. And when they post mine sometime today, no laughing, just buying patches. Just buy the patch and enjoy that. But we are running way over time. We've got to blast on out of here real quick. But thank you again so much to Tom Hall and all of the awesome volunteers, people at FASTERSavesLives.org. Please check them out, support them in any way you can. Maybe be the person that goes against the fear grain and brings Faster Saves Lives program to your organization. Also, thank you to our awesome listeners, not just here in Arizona, not just in Ohio, not even just across the nation, but all over the globe. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. It is your most finite commodity. And when you spend it watching and listening to the subject matter experts that we bring on to Gun Freedom Radio, it's noticed, it's valued, and we appreciate you. Well, I guess I should say, if you want to watch any of the videos that we've ever made, you missed a portion of this one, want to go back and hear more about it, go to OpsLens smartphone app, to YouTube, as long as they haven't kicked us off yet, or to Gun Streamer, which is a liberty-friendly YouTube type of place. And also, if you like the audio-only version, because maybe you're out for a drive or you're going out for a run or something like that, go to GunFreedomRadio.com, click the on-demand tab, and binge listen to your heart's content. All of the episodes we have there. You can see photos and bios of all of the guests we've ever had on if you click the guest tab. It's a huge resource that has built up over several years, and we don't hate it when you spend time there.
Right.
All right, until next time, Dan, what are we
We're
going
going
to
to
do?
pray for our country, pray for our world,
Yeah,
pray for our leaders, even the ones
Absolutely.
you don't like,
maybe especially the
the
ones,
ones you don't like. Yes.
Right? All right, be good to each other. Have a great week, and God bless.
Bye-bye.